Cody Lee Sullivan watched in disbelief. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police stood before the cameras, delivering their carefully prepared statements, a controlled narrative polished, passive. They said, "We believe Lily and Jack may have simply wandered off. No evidence of foul play, no urgency, no mention of him, their biological father. Instead, all eyes turned to the stepfather. He spoke, he cried, he was the face of grief. Cody was not. For days, he screamed into a void. Photos, bruises, screenshots, messages from his daughter that painted a very different story. Ignored, dismissed, buried. He refused to disappear because he knew something the RCMP never wanted uncovered. And when a new detective, one not tied to the original investigation, showed up with questions of her own, everything changed. You're not going to want to miss what we uncovered. This case is still active, still raw, and the truth, it may have been buried by those sworn to find it. If you're as committed to truth, justice, and giving voice to the forgotten as we are, please hit that like button, leave your thoughts in the comments, and help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. Your support fuels these investigations and brings attention to the stories others want left behind. This is only the beginning. The last time Cody Lee Sullivan saw Lily and Jack, they were with family that afternoon in New Glasgow, in town, captured on surveillance, confirmed by the RCMP Major Crime Unit. They smiled, unaware of what was ahead. That evening, Cody tucked Jack in bed and kissed Lily goodnight. He held their hands. He promised he'd see them the next day, but May 2nd would change everything. On May 2nd at approximately 10 a.m., Staff Sergeant Curtis McKinnon confirmed the RCMP received the missing person report. "This is an all-hands-on-deck effort," said McKinnon, "but we're transitioning to specific zones now." And yet, from Cody's perspective, the real search never began. On day 6, they pulled back. By day 7, the official statements drifted into routine calm. He'd become a voice in the background, a detail in the dossier. Meanwhile, RCMP reports state that as of May 13th, they had received over 180 tips and interviewed 35 people. They deployed underwater recovery teams, polygraph units, and behavioral science investigators. Investigators continue reviewing hundreds of hours of video, seeking dashcam and trailcam footage between April 28th and May 2nd. Cody sees it differently. Months earlier, he'd flagged bruises on Jack's arm, Lily's withdrawn behavior, a message she sent at 9:42 p.m. expressing fear. He filed reports with CPS, he called police, he emailed photos, he showed up at CPS offices, he asked to be heard, but they told him, "You're not the custodial parent." They labeled him emotional, unstable, volatile, a disruption. Their language erased his legitimacy. The official search became massive. For 5 days, over 160 volunteers combed through 5.5 square kilometers of treacherous forest. Helicopters hummed overhead. Drones scanned treetops. Canine units and underwater recovery teams joined the effort. Yet by May 7th, the RCMP began scaling back, citing challenging terrain and low survival probability. They shifted to focused, targeted zones. Their tone in press releases felt cautious, almost resigned, as if the children had slipped beyond retrieval. As one official put it, search efforts remain significant but refined. Still, efforts continued into May, June, and July. A forensic analysis was underway on a pink blanket found near the property, a remnant of Lily's favorite toy, her mother said. The blanket, recovered from the nearby woods, was sent for fiber and DNA testing. In the meantime, the RCMP had fielded over 600 tips. More than 60 formal interviews were conducted. Polygraph examinations were administered to several individuals connected to the case. Each tip, each statement filing was logged, but none led to definitive answers. All the while, Cody watched from the periphery. To him, the real investigation, one driven by truth, not procedure, hadn't even begun. Cody wasn't just upset, he was furious. He brought photos, a bruise on Jack's upper arm from months before. Lily's text at 9:42 p.m. expressing fear. He filed reports with Child Protective Services. He emailed CPS and RCMP, submitted screenshots, voicemails, timelines, every red flag he could document, but nothing changed. Reports were logged and shelved. Emails never returned. Calls dismissed. No investigator said, "We'll look into that." They said, "It's already closed." Yet the same system elevated someone else's voice. Daniel Martel, the stepfather. He spoke kindly to reporters. His interviews featured in press statements. He was framed as the grieving parent, the cooperative one. He was given the stage. Meanwhile, Cody's name didn't appear in public statements. News conferences minimized his presence, prompting local reporters to note the glaring absence. He was marginalized, reduced to background noise. While Martel received credit for cooperation and transparency, in Cody's eyes, the system did more than ignore him, they erased him. Cody Lee Sullivan was never perfect. He had a past like many do. A bar fight in 2018, a heated custody hearing 2 years later. Those records were quiet until his children disappeared. Then, suddenly, they became the lens through which he was judged. Authorities described him as disruptive. Caseworkers called him emotional. Internal RCMP emails labeled him unstable, possibly volatile. But let's be clear, he was not an abuser. He was not violent. He was a father whose children vanished, and whose warnings had been ignored long before that happened. His emotional intensity, the tears in public, the pounding of fists on CPS desks, the late-night posts wasn't pathology.it was purpose. It was purpose. This was not obsession. This was persistence born from fear. Fear that the people who were supposed to protect his kids hadn't. He kept showing up, not to cause trouble, but to be heard. And when the system wouldn't listen, he started collecting his own evidence. Behavioral analysts now say Cody's pattern wasn't instability. It was grief transmuted into action. He documented inconsistencies, built timelines, mapped out discrepancies with the methodical urgency of someone trying to hold the world together with tape and memory. He wasn't spiraling. He was uncovering something the RCMP had missed or ignored. They called him unstable, too emotional, disruptive to the process, aggressive. But the truth is, Cody Lee Sullivan wasn't out of control. He was refusing to go numb. The system tried to box him in. A custody battle 5 years ago, a bar fight that never made it past first offense, a short temper when bureaucracy slammed doors in his face. They used those details like weapons, evidence of volatility. They painted a portrait. A father unhinged, not helpful, someone better left outside the room. But grief looks different when you're the one who warned them. Because before the flyers, before the press conferences, Cody had already raised the alarm. Photos of Jack's bruises, drawings Lily made of a scary man yelling, texts sent late at night. "Can we come to your place soon?" No one listened. So when the worst happened, he wasn't just heartbroken. He was on fire. Cody's outbursts weren't instability. They were urgency. The kind that doesn't accept silence. The kind that comes from knowing you were right all along. Experts now call it functional hypervigilance, a trauma-driven focus so sharp it mimics obsession, but underneath is clarity. It's the brain refusing to rest until the pattern makes sense. Cody wasn't spiraling. He was tracking. And when the RCMP wouldn't let him in, he started working around them. Just when the case seemed to stall, when the official story had settled into silence, a new presence entered the scene. Detective Max Reynolds, a behavioral sciences investigator, recently transferred from a cold case unit hundreds of kilometers away. Unfamiliar with the politics that had tangled this case, unburdened by preconceptions, Max didn't make a public announcement. No flashy press conferences. He moved quietly, deliberately, and he did something unusual. he reached out to Cody Lee Sullivan. Pause, subtle suspense beat. "I've been reviewing the files," Max said, voice low but steady over the phone. "There's too much that doesn't fit, too many loose ends." For the first time, Cody wasn't met with dismissal or suspicion. Max saw what others ignored, a man driven by pain. Yes, but also by insight. An ally, not an adversary. This quiet contact sparked a fragile alliance. Together, they began to peel back the layers of a narrative the RCMP had controlled for months. And as they dug deeper, cracks started to appear. Cracks that would threaten to shatter the official version of events. Pause, music builds, then fades slightly as next scene approaches. What secrets was the RCMP hiding? What truths had been buried beneath reports and press statements? And how far would they go to keep them hidden? With Detective Max's quiet support, Cody decided to take matters into his own hands. He posted online a screenshot and innocent text from Lily just days before she vanished. "I heard mommy crying." Jack hid in the closet. Alongside it, a photo of Jack's bruised arm, clear evidence of something far darker than what the official narrative suggested. The post exploded. Teachers reached out, sharing memories of frightened children and hushed hallway whispers. Neighbors came forward with confessions, small details that had never made it into the investigation. Social media became a floodgate of secrets, a digital whistleblower's platform exposing cracks in the carefully constructed story. Then, Detective Max shared something even more damning. An internal RCMP email chain leaked from within the force. The subject line was chilling. Martel inquiry shelf until further notice. It seemed the official inquiry into the children's welfare had been quietly buried, shelved, indefinitely without explanation. Why was the investigation stalled? Who had ordered the silence? And what else were they hiding? The walls were closing in, but with every leak, every post, Cody and Max drew closer to the truth. And the deeper they went, the more dangerous the path became. As the digital storm raged, hard evidence began to surface, clashing with the official timeline and narrative. Surveillance footage confirmed the children were last seen on May 1st, with family exactly as Cody insisted. Yet, the RCMP reports listed conflicting timestamps, raising serious questions about what was overlooked or deliberately altered. Meanwhile, forensic teams confirmed the pink blanket found on the property belonged to Lily. It was now a critical piece of the puzzle, undergoing detailed examination that could link the children to a more sinister reality. And then, the polygraph unit's focus revealed another unsettling truth. Rather than testing casual witnesses, their tests centered on individuals closest to the property. Experts in criminal investigations noted this was typical when suspects, not just witnesses, are under scrutiny, information never publicly acknowledged. At the center of this shadowed inquiry stood Daniel Martel, the stepfather. On camera, he was calm, media-savvy, projecting control. But behind closed doors, inconsistencies piled up. Statements that didn't add up, hesitations, moments of agitation, expertly masked by rehearsed composure. A classic profile of someone hiding far more than they let on. In this swirl of suspicion and silence, an unlikely partnership formed. Detective Max, the behavioral sciences investigator who chose to listen, and Cody, the relentless father refusing to be ignored. Together, they began rewriting the story, one lead, one truth at a time. But as Detective Max filed updates, elevating Cody's evidence to key status in his notes, others inside the RCMP moved to silence them both. What lengths would they go to keep the truth buried? And how far would Cody and Max go to expose it? The case of Lily and Jack Sullivan remains unresolved, no formal trial, no charges filed. Yet, behind closed doors, an internal RCMP review continues. More than 800 investigative tasks remain, active searches, interviews, and leads that stretch into an uncertain future. But the children? They are still missing. Meanwhile, Cody's relentless fight has ignited a fire beyond the official walls. His social media posts reached tens of thousands, echoing through local podcasts and community forums. Voices united in demanding transparency, accountability, and a system that protects children before it's too late. Criticism grows over the absence of an Amber Alert during those critical first hours. Gap Chief Glasgow now calls a national emergency, and lingering questions haunt the case. Why were Cody's early warnings ignored? Could a faster, better coordinated response have saved Lily and Jack? The answers remain elusive, locked behind bureaucracy and silence. Cody paid a steep price, his community turned away, his reputation questioned. Peace a distant memory, but he kept the story alive. His struggle cracked open the veneer of official narrative, forcing uncomfortable truths into daylight. True crime is never just a story of resolution. It is a call for attention, accountability, and memory. And the voices of Lily and Jack Small, lost, yet powerful, demand the world listen. Stay with us as Detective Max continues to dig beneath the surface. Because justice isn't a closed case, it's a journey we must all share. And if you want to help us keep this story alive, hit subscribe, like, and comment below. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers so we can keep telling stories that matter. Your voice could be the one that breaks the silence.